let's get back to
Sure.
the experience.
The experience, the
Yeah,
lovely
have you-
experience of being
yeah.
in prison.
Did it change you?
Of
in
course
any
it
way?
did.
How?
In many ways.
How?
I'm still getting over a lot of it in ways that I hadn't realized. I had court-mandated psychological evaluation, 3 meetings as part of this whole thing for after I got out. And in doing that, I realized things such as, since I got out, I hadn't read a book or a magazine. And when I was in prison, I had 32 magazine subscriptions, and I was reading 4 to 5 books a week. Why? To keep my brain healthy and deal with the outside world, artificially keeping me out of prison in my mind. I didn't go upstairs in my own house for 5 months, because if you went upstairs in the unit in prison, you went to the SHU for a month.
What's the SHU?
Which is the solitary housing.
Oh.
The hole, if you want to call it that.
Did you have any trouble with
I
people?
didn't go around the back of my own house for almost half a year, because I meant walking on the grass, and if you walk on the grass, you go to the SHU.
Right.
Those little things,
Yeah.
which I didn't even really think of initially, all came to light as I was dealing with why I was always at the end of my dining room table with my computer, not walking around, because it was an enclosed space. I was used to being in an 8 by 10 open cell. I didn't have bars. It was an open cell with 5-foot walls, 2 beds, a desk, a chair, and 2 lockers, and no door. So you could just freely walk in and out of the cell, but not out of the unit. The unit was locked in. But I was used to that little space.
Did you have a roommate?
I had 6 or 7 different cellies.
Yeah.
One of them got permanently committed as a sex offender down to North Carolina. One of them is from El Salvador and is in the United States for, he was living in Houston, and he got caught for helping people from Mexico, trying to find them a place to live and a job in this country. But he got kidnapping and arms violations because one of the guys in his group had a gun. So he got something like 17 years. And my favorite cellie was the head of the math department at a big university in Pennsylvania.
What did he do?
He was there for looking at child porn over the internet. He has 6 kids and a wife. He's wasted now 5 years of his life. Devens has 450 sex offenders there, one of 2 places in the country where they do a special program. So they were in general population, along with about 35% Latino, and the rest of us Caucasian or Native Americans. And I'd say maybe 30% black.
And were there any murderers or anybody like?
Oh yeah, there were, but they weren't there for murder. They were there for their second violation. They'd already served for their murders, and now they were there for, a lot of them, for drugs.
Well, what do you mean they served their murders?
They'd already served an 8 or 10 or 12-year term for murdering somebody, and now they were in for a second go.
For something else that was
For something else.
associated with that murder.
Correct. I mean, the
But
guy.
they never got out. I mean, they
No, they got out, and then they back in again because
they
they
only had to
committed
do
crime
8
again.
years for murder.
Well, this one guy only had to do 8 years. Another one had to do 12.
Were you surprised that people weren't in for life when they told you that?
It freaked me out, and
I mean,
and
that's
yet
what I thought.
There were guys there who had done nothing but looked at porn on a computer and had a 27-year sentence. But you could murder somebody and be out in half the time. I just don't understand that.
Wow.
But it is the way the system is.
So, what do you think of the system overall? Aside from
I have no confidence in the U.S. government anymore after what I went through, because, I mean, I caught the...
Were people nice to you?
The people were...
Did you get messed with?
I got messed with 3 times.
Did you get into a fight?
No, I got kicked to the ground once by a young Native American guy who thought I was passing rumors about him. And I was playing racquetball at the time with 3 Latino guys who then pinned him to the ground and got me out of it. I was blackmailed into giving a young black kid $750 worth of my commissary, but he only got $150 because he went and threatened somebody else who was old and wealthy the next day because I found out he had arrived. He was there for 60 days on a violation of parole, and in less than a week he had worked up an $1,100 poker gambling debt, and he was desperate for money, and he ended up beating up this other guy and going to the SHU for a year. So that problem solved itself. And I got called a rat once for supposedly turning in the black guy 2 units down from me for yelling at the TV late at night, and because I complained, quote unquote, all the TVs were turned off at 10 o'clock completely, so you couldn't watch them. There were a couple of televisions you could still see if they were turned on, even though lights were out. And as it turned out, it was another white guy who had submitted a cop-out using my name, and I got blamed for it. And I didn't find out about this
David,
until the white guy got transferred.
Have you ever done anything wrong? Ever?
I have 2 speeding tickets.
That's it.
That was the only thing I've ever done illegal.
Unbelievable.
I was the patsy because I was the only one who didn't lawyer up.